Okay.
Okay, I'm going back to Leyte Bay in the Philippines. When we got there and we anchored out in the bay with 10,000 other vessels. And the war was still going on. And so it was a blackout every night. Every ship, there wasn't a light showing anywhere. And we persuaded our captain to let us go ashore. And he left one of the mates take us ashore in a lifeboat to the little town of Tacloban. And that had been a heavy occupied Japanese post. There were a few dead bodies still floating around in the bay. They had an airstrip, and whenever planes crashed or bombed, they'd just push them off in the water, and you could walk around the bay and see all those planes piled up. So we got up to the little town, to the bar, and I don't know how, but they had cases and cases of beer. So we all got into the beer, and we were supposed to meet back at the lifeboat before dark. And by the time everybody got rounded up and dumped in the lifeboat, it was dark, and we started out to find our ship. And we'd have to pull up under a ship and yell up to the guy on the watch, say, "What's the name of this ship?" So it was after midnight before we ever found our ship. Going from ship to ship.
And drunk.
Hey! But anyway, a few days later than that, the bomb was dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. That was the end of it. That's when we headed back and did all that other stuff and made a couple shuttle runs between Maracaibo, Venezuela, and Aruba.
Do you remember when you heard the news that they dropped the bomb?
Yeah.
What'd you think? What were you thinking when you heard that?
I don't know. We
Did you?
didn't have the news. We used to listen to Tokyo Rose on the radio. The radio operator would get it for us, and she'd play all those good Tommy Dorsey and good big band records, and tell everybody that how all their wives and girlfriends back home were having a big time. We went out with everybody.
They didn't do that.
Tokyo Rose did, yeah. She was a propaganda.
Well, shame on her.
And make everybody sick and tired of the war. But when, I don't know that we heard when the bomb was dropped. I'm sure we did. But when Japan noticed that they had surrendered, we all knew about that right away. So we shot up all of our ammunition and just had a big time. And then everybody started heading back to wherever they had to go.
Did you have guns and stuff on the ships?
Yeah, we had 40 millimeter pom-pom guns on each side of the, and on the bow we had a 3-inch cannon, and on the stern we had a 5-inch gun.
But not individual weapons.
No, well, the Navy gun crew was on the ship to handle all the fighting, and so they had sidearms and rifles, and they had their own little quarters.
Do you remember when the bomb was dropped? Do you remember that event? And did you remember thinking anything specific about it?
Yeah, I just thought it was horrible, and what are we going to do? I took everything like, we had to fix it. I just was, scared to death. Because we were at war for the first time.
You're talking about Pearl Harbor.
Well, what are we talking about?
When they dropped the bombs
On Japan.
and they surrendered, the atomic bomb.
No, I don't remember that.
Okay.
I remember us in like you said, in Hawaii.
So what other adventures do you remember in your merchant seaman days?
Well, when we got to New York with the tanker.
So that's your bird clock going off there?
Yeah, it don't do it in the dark.
Well, thank God for that.
Oh, it's got a photosensitive cell.
Okay, well, good.
But anyway, we got to New York, and we were fogbound. We had to anchor out in Long Island Sound for, I think, 2 days or 3. And when you do that, every 3 minutes they blow that horn. Ooh. And all the ships out there were doing the same thing. But when the fog lifted and we steamed in to the Hudson River, we saw the Statue of Liberty, and we could see the skyline. And the ship went to Bayonne, New Jersey, where the refinery was to unload. And that was the end of our trip, so most of us got off the ship, took our money. They rode the ferry over to New York, went out in New York City, found a little girlfriend, went to her house in Brooklyn, rode the subway. And that's the first time I saw a television, was in the bar. And it was a Texaco, Uncle Milty. Texaco, I can't remember the name of the program. But it was black and white, and it was amazing. And then I caught a train home to Mobile. And that was in November. Probably November of '45.
And did you go back out to sea?
Yeah, I was on a ship in January. I got all my seaman's papers chronologically in there.
He'll never tell this himself, but he sent a whole bunch of his money home to help the family out. Those kids don't give him enough credit yet, because some of them may not be picky.
I think they must have got used to that, getting money from Dad, because they still do it sometimes.
Oh, well. Let's see now.
You know how you had an allotment, the servicemen did, they didn't even take yours out, you just sent your own.
Did you send it to Nanny or Paul?
Well, Mary,
Did she keep most of the money together, or did?
I don't know what happened to it. I didn't ask that.
Well, it was needed sorely. It probably went for groceries and rent and stuff like that.
But anyway, I had enough to have a good time on.
Oh, I'm sure.
First time I met your mama is Carolyn was working at Hamill's department store. And me and Tate Hall had just paid off a ship. We had
They
a
were
lot of
loaded.
cash. And he had a 39, 38 Ford. And we went by the liquor store and we loaded that thing up with beer and wine and whiskey and all in the back seat. And then I was going to pick up Carol and give her a ride home. And she worked. Did you work? You didn't work, but she was there.
Down there for some reason.
And
I had to
we
sit
give her a ride
up on
home.
top of all that stuff in the back like a...
And I didn't see her again for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you went back out to sea?
Oh, yeah.
Always. I just remember hearing bad tales from Carolyn about him, how he was, he took everybody to bed, and our second or third date, we were heading home. I don't know why you went that way, but it was a motel on 45, Highway 45, and he pulled over and stopped right in front of the motel, and I thought, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm not going to. And he got out and walked around and looked at all the tires, and then came back and got back in and took off. He did that, I know, to this day, just for meanness, just to...
Oh, I don't think so.
I know so. I thought, oh God, he's gonna.
Yeah, I didn't really meet you and we start dating until about 48 or 49. 48, about a year before I got married.
I graduated in 48 and I was already working at Cochran, Bob.
Yeah.
So
you had quit the merchantcy when y'all were dating, or just before?
no, he kept going. We just dated when he came home.
And I went off on one trip and was gone 9 months.
That's when I met Charlie and them.
Charlie Dixon?
Yeah. I guess.
That's a trip we went around the world and halfway back. Traveled 64,000 miles on the water.
Wow. Where'd you go?
Well, we left Mobile, went to New Orleans. And
Is that the
Panama.
time I rode over? Well, no, we were married
no, that
then.
was when went to Panama and to Honolulu and to Kobe, Japan, Shanghai, China, Singapore, Manila, and around South Africa to Montevideo, Uruguay, and then to Buenos Aires, and then way south to Bahia Blanca. Got a load of grain and went to the Canary Islands and refueled. Then went to Brazil, North Africa, and unloaded that grain. And then we went to Marseille, France, and I don't remember why.
Where'd your girlfriend that owned the bar live?
Oh, that was in Rotterdam. And then from Marseille, we came back to Mobile. Left in March of, I'm going to see what year that was. Probably 47. And got back around Christmas of that year. Didn't have half the crew we started with. Somebody missed the ship, jumped the ship.
Did you ever almost miss a
He
ship?
did miss.
I missed one in the Canary Islands.
How did that happen?
We been in the cooks and bakers and steward department. We had access to a lot of valuable stuff like butter and bacon, ham. We parlayed that into a big wad of money, me and Tate. Oh, and so as soon as we got finished with the supper, we took off uptown. And they had the sailing time posted for midnight. We were up there and we were having a good time, and had us a couple of girls, and some guy came by and said, y'all don't have to go back to ship tonight to change the sailing time till 8 o'clock. Ooh. So about midnight, these girls had a cab waiting for us and knocked on the door and said, the ship should go, the ship should go. So we jumped up. Tate said, they got our money. I was trying to get rid of us. When the taxi got down to the end of the wharf where the ship was, it was out there and it went like that. And I had a hunk of money left. There was a guy who had a launch. And I gave him money. I said, can you catch that ship? He said, see? I think they speak Portuguese there. So we got on the launch, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. We were out there, and the ship was going, and we were on this launch. Pulled up alongside, and the captain was standing up on the bridge. He didn't say a word. We yelled up, and the guy that was on watch just said, throw the ladder over, and you know,
Rope ladders? Yeah.
we were down there on that boat trying to catch that ladder. Finally, we got up, fell over on the deck. Captain says, Darnell, I almost left you. Oh, but if we'd had our wits about us, we could have let the ship go. I had enough money, we could have flown to North Africa the next day and been there and met the ship and only got docked a couple of days back.
Like Ben did on his
Yeah, it
vacation.
must be genetic.
But that's the only close call I ever had.
So, y'all met through Carolyn. How did you know Carolyn?
We both worked at the same ice cream parlor.
Mm.
And it wasn't Laster's, it was that one down further. And she said she had a brother coming in and she wanted me to meet him.
So why did you go out with him if she told you he was with all these women?
She didn't tell me that at first.
Okay.
And he was pretty handsome. But he was a smart ass and still is.
Okay.
One time I remember, I'll never forget this. I said, oh, look at that poor old. He tried to make me think he was tougher than he really was. See. You remember that? It was at a race. And I said, oh, look at that poor old something wrong. He said, hey. It was her fault, probably. She did so and so. And I thought, you don't have any compassion at all. But
She remembers a lot of things I don't remember.
of course. But he was just putting on an air for me.
To be tough.
Yeah,
That was a tough guy.
yeah. I said, oh, how can you say that?
So how long did y'all date before you got married? Before you got engaged?
About a year, wasn't it? But you weren't
I
in
was
the whole
gone,
time.
yeah, most of the time.
We wrote letters. And we'd been to a movie and the Pritchard movie and walked back through the lumber yard. He asked me to marry him in the lumber yard.
He did.
Jones's lumber yard.
How romantic.
Sawdust.
Do you remember how you proposed? Did you get on a knee or anything?
Lord, no.
No. I don't remember.
They didn't.
And did you say yes right away?
Yeah. I think I did. Didn't
Probably.
So you didn't ask for Big Daddy's permission or anything
I?
before
He
you
told me
did
he
that?
did later.
Oh.
After he found out I would. And Daddy liked him. They thought he was wonderful.
Well,
Yeah, they weren't as nearly as strict on me with him as they were the other people I dated, and they should have been a lot more strict than with him.
So what did Paul and Nanny think about you getting married to Mom? They were happy?
that's what I wanted to do. That's fine.
Were you the first to get married?
No, Carolyn was the first to get married.
No.
Oh yeah, she already had Michael by the time we got married. Didn't she? Yeah, we used to ride out there to see her and Bubby and the baby.
And so y'all were pretty young, didn't have a lot of money. How did you plan the wedding? What did you decide to do for that? I mean, weddings were expensive back then, just like they are now, I imagine.
Well, everything was borrowed. Marita had gotten married about 5 or 6 months before us, and I borrowed her dress. And Bob had a good suit. He bought real expensive, good clothes back then. And Mother decorated, and I mean it was gorgeous. She used sheets that you get from the, you know, how Daddy could get towels for the barbershop. You could rent sheets, and she pleated them and went out and got greenery out of the woods. I think we only had 2 bouquets of flowers, but it was just gorgeous. And all the people that were in Marita's, just about, were in mine, or we borrowed their dresses for the ones in ours. And it was beautiful. It was just as pretty as Marita's was. And Aunt Corrine gave me the reception at her house, because we didn't even have a dining room, you know. We just ate in the kitchen and at Mother's. And so she gave the reception at her house, and then we went to We went that night. We didn't even drive straight there. We went out to the New Spick, is that the name of it? Where we used to go to dance and he'd drink. And several went with us. We took a whole crowd with us. And then we left them about midnight or 1 and drove to, was it Biloxi or Gulfport?
In Biloxi, I believe.
Biloxi, and stayed in an old
Tourist court.
tourist court. That's
With
what
those
you had.
neon lights?
It was cold. Oh, it was cold.
It was freezing ass cold.
In
And
September?
November.
I mean, November,
November
yeah.
the 8th. And
Yeah, that's winter.
then we even went to a movie one night.
Went
But
to the grocery store and bought stuff and cooked it in the room.
Yeah, he cooked breakfast the next morning for us, and I was real impressed with that. And
She had to be back to work on Monday, and that was Friday night.
So y'all spent your honeymoon in that
Yeah.
motel for the weekend?
It was tourist court,
The tourist court,
little
yeah.
separate houses.
Oh, okay, I see.
And Big Daddy loaned us his car to go, because
Yeah,
I had wrecked my car. And right before we got married, and had no insurance and no money, totally.
we were pathetic.
And I got the money from Paul because he got a settlement for his silicosis. And I got $1,200 from him and bought that car.
When you wrecked.
Yeah.
And they ran through that money like Croton oil through a... Because, you know, they didn't ever have any money, so when you get some, you get everything you wanted or needed.
Mm-hmm.
But, and you tried, he got a job at the paper mill. He went over there and bugged them to death, and
I was over there every morning in a crowd of about 100 people, trying to get in to fill out applications, and I'd wait till all of them had left, and I'd get in there and try to talk to the personnel manager.
they hired him finally.
Finally, I says, I'm gonna give you a job, you worry me today.
And how long did you work? Was it a month? A week?
About 6 weeks, made 80 cents an hour, I think. And I
He,
was wrapping paper, people
and he
order
had cuts all over his hands,
paper,
paper cuts.
flat goods. I was in that order, you know, like 1,000 bundles of 10,000 sheets, and
Mm-hmm.
label them and lay them aside on pallets.
I
And
thought,
they filled out an order and they leave me out.
I thought when you first, you quit.
This is the first time I worked.
Oh, 'cause he walked
They
out.
laid me off, and I was out looking for a job and doing all kinds of things. Me and Bubby used to inoculate dogs for the county
Kim,
health officer. We'd get 50 cents for every dog we inoculated. But anyway, they called me back after 2 or 3 weeks. Told me to come in on the second shift. And I had a 39 Ford. It was pretty bad shape, but because see, this was 1950,
Mm-hmm.
49, 50. Yeah, it was in the spring of 50. No, it was anyway right after we married. So I reported it in the end. Had me a lunch. They took me over to this place at the end of this line. This guy was wrapping these rolls of paper that was coming off of a machine and stacking them. They showed me how to do it. The guy left. And I was doing it. And in 2 hours, every 2 hours they come to give you a break to go to the bathroom and smoke, whatever. I couldn't see over those rolls behind me, just laying on the floor. So I went into the locker room, got my lunch,
left.
went out in the parking lot and got in my car and drove off. And
Right in the middle of the shift.
I've never been back. And 3 or 4 weeks later, I got a check for 2 hours.
And then you went back to sea then, didn't
Yeah.
you? And then a while later, after the baby came, see, I got pregnant the first month, or a little after, because 11 months later, along comes Brian.
Yeah, I went back to sea. I was on the Puerto Rican run.
But after the baby came, you started to work for the Rogers, didn't
Yeah.
you?
At the hardware store?
Some several different jobs.
Well, you mentioned Aunt Corrine and Uncle George. Do you remember any other relatives that you liked a lot or that stuck out in your mind and what they were like? Your aunts or uncles or cousins or? You said Aunt Isabel.
Well, we ran around with Doris and Eddie
The Dones?
Yeah,
when we first got married, yeah, but they, you know how they are.
Okay.
They didn't last terrible long. And
when I got mad at,
and Carol and Bubby were always right
Y'all
there
did
for
stuff
us.
together?
Yeah.
cooking and eating, and after I was working, after I quit the hardware store, when I found out they was paying a nigger truck driver more than they did me, and they wouldn't give me a raise. Eddie Doan got me a job as he was working for a contractor. And that's when I met Bernie and Imogene Inger.
Did you ever
We
know
worked-
them,
Mhm.
the Ingers?
And we used to do stuff too. We'd get a bushel of oysters and, on Friday and some beer and cook oysters and have a good time.
We always had a couple friends. Van was never around much, but Georgia was a good friend and Eddie was a good friend. We lived by them over there by the fire station years, way before you were born.
And Marita and Roland, were they around?
Marita and Roland, they moved away though pretty quick.
Yeah, he was a veteran. He went to Alabama on VA education program.
And then they lorded that over you
Then he
so
went
bad it was
Tex to Georgia Tech and got his doctorate and master's or whatever.
Masters, I think, is all he ever got. But he thought he was hot.
Yeah.
you
He made a
know.
lot of money and I didn't.
But then we started, okay, we lived up over that auto parts place.
Yeah.
And then we
Moved to
Moved.
Wilson Avenue.
to Wilson Avenue. That was the
Yeah.
duplex where the
Duplex.
water froze. It sweated and then it froze on the wall. We had sheets of ice on the wall
Hmm.
We came home after a Mardi Gras dance.
and found it that way. And then we
We went
finally
down to
moved,
8 degrees.
we moved to Snow Harbor next, didn't
We
we?
moved to Snug Harbor. Then we moved to Railroad Street. Then we moved to Mayor Avenue. Then we moved to the house.
In Norwood.
Norwood.
When y'all were starting out, did you have any dreams or anything that you specifically wanted to do, or was it more week to week or month to
Wanted to
month?
make it.
Tomorrow
Just
and the next
make it.
day.
But I never worried that we weren't gonna be all right. I just knew we were. Did you?
No.
Did you what? You didn't worry?
No.
I didn't either. I just knew it'd be all right. We'll be all right. And Aunt Frances has always been a inspiration. She just always thought we were gonna be fine. And see who else? Who in the family did we like a lot? I loved Mary Ruth. She was the best cousin I had. I believe, don't you?
Yeah.
Now, was she always sick like that, or?
No, she was beautiful, and that was a family thing. Her daddy had that.
What did she have?
I don't even know the name of it, but she got to where she couldn't walk,
Hmm.
and
See, they went to San Antonio after Brooklyn Field closed. They all worked.
and we
at
didn't get to
Brooklyn
see her
Field.
hardly any then. But when she moved back, we were friends. And I wasn't ever close to Lillian and them very much, but they're nice, really nice people.
Okay, let's stop there. This is almost done, and we'll pick up with the house we'll go from Railroad Street to Norwood and go from there.